Our experts are back for another round of Ask the Shrinks. Personality expert Dr. Richard Levac and clinical psychologist Dr. Rachel GOLDENHAR are here to answer your questions. They're both from the San Diego Psych Association. Welcome to you both this morning.
Good morning.
All right, our first question is from Nick, and Nick posted on our Facebook page. Nick has a question and says, my wife and I have been married for 3 years, and it's becoming apparent that we are totally different people. When we go to therapy, it ends up being all about me and causes more problems. When do you know to call it quits, or if you should stick it out?
Wow, that's a very interesting thing, because people are not taught when they're dating what to look for in a marital partner. And initially, sexual attraction is the main bond. But research shows that the similarity of personality and values is the best way to make a marriage work. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. That initial chemistry is really important. You need to have that chemistry in the beginning. You need to have that, but that is not going to last you long term. You really need to have a foundation of being able to communicate, and sometimes that takes practice. You really need help learning how to talk and how to listen.
That's right.
So that's where therapy can be helpful, and you need to stick it out.
And I think, in answer to his question, before you give up, learn to communicate. If the two of you are able to sit down and problem solve what each of you needs, and it still doesn't work, if you can talk to each other without judgment or blame, and it still doesn't work, then maybe your marriage can't work. But give it some time.
I do believe you need to give it a chance and give it the old college try. You need to give it its all, because divorce is a hard process. It's a big process, and you don't want to have any regrets, I think, is the final word.
Nick, I suggest you read the book, The 5 Love Languages. It's an awesome book. Read that first. But I'm curious if they should switch therapists if he feels like he's getting picked on all the time. I mean, maybe
that's a great point. That's a great point. Your therapy, every time you go to therapy, you should leave feeling better and more hopeful. If that's not happening, consider switching.
It's interesting. That happened to some friends of mine that I know, and they both felt like he was getting picked on, and it actually worked to their advantage, because the wife said, hey, listen here, and it kind of strengthened them. So, okay, think about that. Okay, we have a question from Pamela. Pamela says, my job is driving me crazy. How do I not take home my stress from work and keep from putting it on my loved ones?
Yeah, well, I think after you get home from work, maybe in the car, doing some relaxation, some breathing. Maybe you can go work out before you get home, doing something you enjoy so you can really de-stress. Maybe you enjoy, taking your dog for a walk, taking your dog to the dog park, hanging out with a friend, doing something for yourself, having that self-care time so you can really de-stress. Would you agree?
That's perfect. Also, I am aware that after a very stressful day, I can walk in the house and see my daughter's shoes lying there. I can see the flowers wilting, and I want to be mad with my wife or my daughter. If I take a moment before I walk in the room and say, visualize that this evening is what you work for. Having those couple of hours before bed is what you are working for. Make the most of it. How can I visualize a pleasant evening and make the most of it rather than focusing on what's wrong?
Absolutely. I read a book once where a guy, before going inside his house every day, there was a tree, and he would visualize himself taking his problems from work and putting them on the tree.
That's great.
And leaving them there and going inside, and then the next morning he could pick them back up again. But it's that visualizing yourself. You have to put it off.
I've heard too, sometimes coming home from work and taking a shower and just imagining the water, just rinsing away all the stress of the day, and then you can enjoy your family and just think about what you're thankful for, and that kind of helps reframe your thoughts.
And write down all your worries before you walk in the house and put them aside. So you can tackle them first thing in the morning.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart. Okay, Victor said, my mom passed away from leukemia this year. My first dad and I supported each other through it. Now we only have small talk, and he gets really aggravated. What is going on here?
Wow. So the dad gets aggravated.
I guess so.
So that sounds like dad might be a little depressed. Don't be afraid to say to dad, Dad, I really want more time with you. I enjoy time with you. But sometimes you seem irritable and grumpy, and it kind of scares me that I'm going to make you angry. Can we talk about how we can get along better? What can I do so that you're not so grumpy?
Yeah, and I agree with that too. And maybe doing something together just to build the relationship, just going to the movies together, doing something kind of that's easy to hang out and build together, and then just being able to talk easily about how we can I help you? How can I help you through
How
this?
can we work together?
And maybe do some things where you don't have to talk.
Yes, that's what I was kind of getting at.
Go somewhere,
Yeah.
go to
Going
a
on a
movie.
walk,
Building
right.
goodwill by doing things together. That's the way people get to know each other, by hanging out and doing things together.
And
sometimes you have to revamp the relationship.
Often
by doing
men
that.
too. Men have a hard time talking.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
sometimes doing something active, building something together, doing some sort of sport or
Go
activity.
play some
or
wiffle ball together.
Yeah, something.
Right.
It's easier, and you're bonding, but you're not necessarily. You don't need to talk necessarily.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. And if you want to get in touch with Dr. Levac and Dr. GOLDENHAR, just go to our website and click on that Scene On tab. Okay, Raul, back over to you now.
All right, guys, good advice. Thank you.